they will probably face justice, but
long jail sentences or what?
Politically, I don't know what will happen. I mean, the court.
Well, if you go to jail, you lose your seat.
You lose your seat, yeah, but it won't be because the president is fighting corruption.
So you think the systems have come of age?
We need to look. We need to wait and see. You know.
You do trust the systems? They can go the whole distance.
Yeah, I think so. I really have. I do have a. I think that. I mean, for instance, a person like you talked about. I think it's Karuhanga here.
Yes, go on.
Who said that? I don't know. I'm not so sure whether Bukenya's being pulled out of parliament
was not linked.
I really think that a person like Justice Musoke Chibuka, I think he's above board.
Right.
I think he's above board. He would do what he was supposed to do, but anything before that, he may probably not be responsible for any action that are not directly in his docket. So there is a bit of there is some credibility
on that side.
On that side.
Okay.
But what I'm saying, it will not be because the president is taking control of the fight against corruption or taking the lead in fight against corruption. He's actually being pulled almost unwillingly by the population, he's being dragged along. Okay. He's not showing that he is the one that is leading the fight against corruption. He's just being dragged along.
Fair enough. Let's move forward. The oil debate in Parliament. The Speaker says, I'm not calling the Parliament back. Secondly, she says, give me some reasons. Then she says, I'm not calling it back. Second time. The third time, something happens maybe in the middle of the night, and she sends a letter saying, I'm calling it back, but on such and such a day. Then the fourth letter comes, I'm actually saying I'm calling Parliament according to your will. I
think she didn't have a choice.
Well, but why did she do that? Many people are trusting her when she came, and all of a sudden she looks like she's very, very sorry.
No, because she was not tested. That controversial bills were always handled by Sekandi.
Yes.
Miss Kadaga was never tested. So you cannot say that she had what it takes. Now is when we see.
This is the hot water for the tea.
Yeah, whether she has what it takes. It's just being seen. It's just being seen now, and this will tell us who Kadaga is. Before that, she was just a deputy speaker. Now we want to see whether she's a speaker.
Very, very solid statement there.
Now, I have been among the MPs who moved the motion on oil and recalling Parliament, and we've met the Right Honourable Kadaga several times. I must honestly tell everyone that she has been under immense pressure.
From who? You?
Yes, well, Parliament, but also pressure not to recall Parliament.
From who?
I will tell you that she had a lot of pressure from the president's office. She had
who in the president's office?
The president himself.
Yes. Calling him? Calling her?
Yes, the calls were so many that she had a lot of pressure from the Attorney General's chambers. Some MPs were also called by these same people. So somehow she was, and she was already labeled opposition leaning, and so she was lost between now, do I really be with my MPs, and do I also listen to the forces that be? And then there is something also that was said in the corridors that look, at some point said, they can take this advantage and actually remove you from the speakership.
Yes.
And the same people that seem to be telling you not to recall could actually take the advantage. But I think what she did was very honest. She realized that indeed the constitution is clear. What the constitution?
You mean what she did at the end? Because she had 4 positions.
Yes. Eventually, what she had to do, she had no choice because the constitution is clear. What the constitution provides for here is a scenario like this we had.
Yes.
Where the speaker or the executive arm of government are not comfortable actually with Parliament sitting.
Yes.
So what happens? And these MPs want actually to sit.
Yes.
So they collect signatures, a third of the membership.
Which is not a simple thing to do.
Yeah, which is not a simple thing. This time it was quickly done. It was a very big agreement because everybody thinks it's a very, very serious issue. And we signed and agreed that we will call back. If she had not called us, what we had chosen to do was to go to the chambers of Parliament, wait for 1 hour. Yes. And if she had not shown up,
yes,
or if she wouldn't show up, then we were supposed to elect an interim speaker. Now that was very, very strong because we had a meeting on Monday, and I think when she was told,
that's when the letter came in.
Really, she said, "Oh, this seems more serious."
Let's move forward, Honorable Bahati. Now, maybe you don't want to talk about it. Let's talk about independence. That's probably safer for you. Talk about it then.
Well, I think Right Honorable Kadaga, she's a great speaker. She looks at different scenarios.
She's been in it for only 4 months.
She's a great speaker. Well, even when she was a deputy speaker for the last 10 years, she has done some things. And certainly, you know, politics is not easy, and especially politics in parliament is not easy because there are so many things that come in one place. But we are happy that eventually she did what she was supposed to do and the right thing. But the most important thing is what is in the motion. I think that's what is people are looking for. What is in the motion, and that's what we will be debating on Monday.
All right, we'll wait for that. But maybe before we move to the Independence Day, so from your explanation, there's no love loss. You people in Parliament, you don't hate her because it wasn't really her. She was being pushed.
No, honestly, we understood her predicament. We would only have lost the love for her if she had insisted on her earlier position. That after I think she had realized that we were so resolute and insisting on this, she said, no, I have to be with my MPs, and after all, the constitution is really clear.
All right, maybe before we hear from the listeners, let's talk about independence. 49 years, the 49-year-old man really is a man or a woman. A woman is after menopause. Is Uganda outgrown its menopause?
Well, I don't know whether we are really independent, honestly. One, from the reading of our economy, we are still very dependent on the donors. But also, two, I think we are the leadership that we have and the way it handles our affairs of our nation. It is wanting. You know, the interest of you very many times. I can tell you, if you asked 90% of the Ugandans a few weeks ago, would have told you want the teachers' salaries increased.
Yes.
But we saw the leadership fail completely, even fail parliament, and try as much as they can move away everyone from the very interests of the people. Because for me, I think we are independent when we see the interests of Ugandans taking lead in the priorities of government. That's when you have independence. That's when you know that yes, we may not be a very rich country, but we are giving what is important priority.
Honorable Bahati, this important occasion has been taken to Lira this year. As we begin the countdown to the Silver Jubilee, 50 years, it has been taken to the birthplace of one of Uganda's key founding fathers, Lira, where Milton Obote was born.
But before, if I can just a quick response to Honorable, I think we need not really to mislead the listeners that the government of NLM is not interested in matters of the teachers. Parliament certainly is interested. We went out at the budget committee. We looked for how we can increase the salary of teachers, and we all came to a conclusion that this needs to be budgeted for fully, and we are handling that next financial. You were with us in Parliament, so it is not. It's not really right. It's not really right to say that, and I think we want to handle it in a comprehensive way. Look at teachers. But I think going back to Lira, is this a very wonderful thing that we are shifting
one of the founding fathers, if not the founder,
to Lira? Certainly we do recognize the contribution made by Milton Obote, but I think that's not what is taking us to Lira. What is taking us to Lira is the fact that now I think independence should be enjoyed and celebrated by all Ugandans. We should be rotating this from Lira to Gulu, from where, like that. So we give an opportunity to all Ugandans to celebrate this important day. And I think we have made some progress. So far, we are at 70% financing our own budget.
Right.
We are moving forward. But I think we also need to stand up on some issues that affect the people of Uganda. For example, on the future of the children of Uganda. We should not start trading the dollars we get from the donors with the future of Uganda. So we have made some progress in some aspects. We are also still timid on others.
Timid on things like funding agriculture, probably. Some people have been agitating for it. We don't have an agricultural bank. We've killed all our cooperative societies and unions. Honorable Bettie, your independence, very briefly.
When I look back, it's 49 years since we're going to celebrate 49 years. And when you look back over the 49 years, what I see is to what I see over the past 49 years is 7 elections,
Yes.
2 liberation wars, 3 military coups, 2 referenda, 9 regimes, 8 presidents, all of them removed bloodily.
Yes.
And I see billions of donor dollars poured in this economy, and I see an incredible endowment of resources that God endowed to this country on the one side. On the other side, I see conflict. I see human rights abuse. I see throughout the 49 years, with just a punctuation of a 2 or 3 year honeymoon, like painkiller.
Which one?
Every time we change a regime,
There's
every
some
regime
soothing
change
film.
is punctuated by some pain relief,
Right.
which then goes back
long.
to square one. Doesn't
Okay.
go for long.
Very briefly, maybe before we hear from the. I'm sorry, I'm cutting you short.
Yes, so for me, that requires us to go back to the drawing board and ask ourselves, are we on the right track? Are we not just driving full scale 100 kilometers, but where are we going? Are we going to get there? And are we on the right track? And for me, I think that we did not move on. From Independence Day, we thought that the mere fact of a Mzungu going meant independence. But it should have meant the laying of a foundation stone, and the real work should begin. And that work should have meant dismantling the colonial structures of administration, which were designed to govern a colony.
Okay.
But we are still using the same system to govern an independent state.
Federalism.
And there's a total contradiction. You will never get there.
Let's
so
hear-
really we need to get back to the drawing board and ask whether we are on the right track. And yes, you're right, you said it.
Well, they give us
system of
promises in the
governance is
past
wrong.
and so on. Let's talk. Let's hear from you, the listeners. Our number 0414-348-111, 0312-260-390, 0312-261-390. When you call in, please tell us your name and where you are calling from. Spectrum, hello. 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 Seem to be having an issue with the lines. Spectrum, hello. Well, it looks like there is a situation with the lines. Keep trying as we try to rectify them on this side as well. Yes, Honorable Kamya, maybe you might continue.
Yeah, so what I was saying is that, having been through a vicious circle, you know what a vicious circle is?
Yes.
There's a blockage. There's no outlet. There's no forward moving. We're just moving in a vicious circle of all those negatives. We need to ask ourselves, where is the blockade? And what do we need to do to open it up so that we move on?
Where is the blockade?
And what we have done in Uganda, we have been thinking every time that the president in the State House is the blockade.
Yes.
And we will remove that president.
Tell us where it is.
The blockade is the system. The system is the template, and it's flawed. Until you deal with the template, with a flawed template, all the presidents are transient. They're going to be flawed, just like the system. That is why countries like the USA, former British colonies, the USA, Canada, Australia, Nigeria, South Africa,
Those
India,
are all large countries that you're naming.
India,
Big countries.
well, go smaller countries like Malaysia. I mean, all those countries, or even Kenya last year, they revised, they reviewed the system of governance, their constitution, and designed systems that are appropriate for their aspirations, not systems that will just carry on the aspirations of colonialism.
Let's get some more detail on that. You mentioned about 7 big countries: the USA, Canada, Australia, Nigeria, and others.
All former British colonies.
They're all practicing federalism.
Yes, they are all practicing federalism, but only after independence. At first, they were all under the unitary, because that was the imperial British colonial system, which had a centralized governance in London.
Right.
But after the collapse of colonialism, each country designed their own.
And they found federalism was the best for them.
Yeah, but different brands. There are different brands of federalism, each one homemade. That's the best brand.
Honorable Bahati.
Well, if you want to count how many bad things are happening to this country in the last 49 years, there are so many. But I think also it's important, as we celebrate this independence, to count the blessings God has given us.
Yes.
The oil that can transform this country.
Some people think it's going to be stolen.
Where we are there to protect it. The oil that can really turn around the economy of this country. Uganda is one of the few countries with the youngest population. People with a lot of energies that, if these energies are put in good use, can really overturn this country for the better. The best weather. So if we count God's blessings one by one, would be amazed at 49 how Uganda is. Certainly we are moving in the right direction. We need to fix one or two things there, and the opportunity we have it, and it's for everybody's responsibility to make something happen.
All right, maybe if we come to you, Honorable Karuhanga, talk to us about this. There's a national prayer breakfast.
Well, every 8th of October we organize a national prayer breakfast. Parliament organizes a national prayer breakfast. This year we are having it at the Hotel Africana, beginning with 7:30 a.m. The guest speaker, Dr. Inongwe Lewanika, who is a former presidential candidate in Zambia, now an ambassador, Zambian ambassador to Belgium, is already here to speak to us. The guest of honor is the speaker of the president of Uganda. The first lady will be there, the speaker of Uganda will be there, the speaker of Burundi, speaker of Rwanda, and speaker of Tanzania will be in attendance. And there are so many members from the public. I hope the president of the federal party will be with us. It's a good time for leaders of the nation to come together, fellowship, break bread together, and focus on faith and how it informs public life.
Yeah. And of course, October 8th is the day the national constitution.
And the theme for this year is for God and my country,
yes,
a call for excellence in service.
And that's the date the constitution was promulgated.
That's right.
Honorable Karuhanga.
Yes. About
listeners, we apologize. The lines, we're still trying to fix the lines, but we're having a hardship on this side. Do bear with us, though.
It's about protecting the oil that my colleague has alluded to. We are beginning to doubt it very strongly.
What do you mean?
Because for the last almost 3 months now, the central executive arm of government has been very elusive with information on how they're handling the oil matters. Very elusive. You're asking them, look, share with us the production sharing agreements. If they're in draft form, let's look at them. Share with us how these monies have been exchanging hands. The escrow accounts you're talking about. Well, tell us what transpires. What transpired? They are completely trying to gag everyone, even stop asking more questions. So, you know why we are so concerned about oil is that we are talking about close to $10 billion US dollars. Our budget is about $4 billion US dollars.
Yes.
So we are talking about running almost 2 other Ugandas in a way, and this is not a joke. If this is not handled so well,
$10 billion, that's the money to be invested by these companies. The $10 billion, that's the money they're supposed to invest, yes.
Yes, but what we even expect out of it?
It's about $18 billion over 25 years.
Exactly, it's far much more. So, why we have to be very, very keen, and we know countries that have had oil, the challenges that they have had from our neighbor friends here, Libya.
Yes.
You know what has happened in Iraq, in Afghanistan,
Nigeria.
In Nigeria, everywhere where oil has been. And we are saying, look, let's be systematic. Let's not rush everything. Let's be inclusive. This whole thing of confidentiality clauses. Why? I can't be a party to a contract and you say I'm not privy to it. It's madness, because you are saying me and you, Edmond, you probably want to sell me a car, and then you are saying, but the contract, it's only me who will maintain the copy.
Right.
It's an add-on. So, and we keep, so everything that is being said, most of it is speculation. for what has been had in the corridors from here or there. So it's unfair to our people, it's unfair to our country.
Well, before I think we really now try to fix the blame, I think we need to continue looking at the future. And the future is demanding that the executive brings the laws, and they have committed themselves that the laws on the oil will come in November and this year. And I know also that the debate on Monday will be able really to tell Ugandans how far we have gone with the oil sector and how far we are moving towards.
Why has it taken us
This debate. What does that tell us about the spirit?
Why?
The spirit of government. It's a forced debate.
It's a forced debate.
The government could have done better. The executive could have done better. Well, giving the agreements to Parliament and members of Parliament accessing agreements only on oath, I think, in my opinion, is not a good way of doing things. But also there has been lack of rather delay in terms of bringing the laws of how we are going to manage the oil. But the good news is that executive is committed to bring these laws. They have told the Committee on Natural Resources, and I think on Monday more information will come. So let's look at this in a very constructive way with trust that you and I can make a change in the way that we want this oil to be managed. Certainly it's not going to be only the executive law, it's going to be Parliament and also other stakeholders.
Honorable Bettie, what comes to your heart when you hear about this oil in this country? Do you jubilate or do you get a sense of foreboding?
I think that, like I said at the beginning, with respect to Honorable Bahati's statement about the blessing, yes, I did admit that we have an incredible endowment of resources. Incidentally, people think about oil, but we have so much more than oil in this country. If you really want to look at it, it's just because oil is fashionable, and those people who don't have the resources that we do, when they get oil, they clap their hands, and we think that oil is the big thing. We have bigger things in this country than oil, actually. Okay. Income generating things than oil. But what I think that as we do talk about oil, what we need to discuss more is ownership. I mean, Ugandans are so disenfranchised.
Yes.
The people of Bunyoro, for instance, I'm not even hearing their voice in this whole thing. It's the people that have a few guts that come out. But what about the people in the region? What about the, it's I don't like that.
Well, Bunyoro is really a whole issue because they got money from the Queen.
That falls out of my constituency.
And they have not. He has been there as the representative of young people in Western Uganda.
Honorable Karuhanga, what do you think is going to happen on Monday when you people meet after forcing that meeting?
Our colleague Honorable Bahati was talking about trusting and having confidence in government and how it's handling this matter. We are already beginning to doubt whether you even give us the right information. Because, if you have information...
But the contracts are in Parliament. The Speaker says she has them.
No, but you see that now that's the funny bit. If the Speaker has these contracts, why would she have a problem sharing them with us?
So the Monday's meeting really has nothing to... It's not going to push us anywhere.
No. What we are going to do, we shall do everything possible to press the Attorney General.
All right.
To produce these documents, the production sharing agreements, the exploration agreements that were done before. Every other information that is relevant oil must be produced to the floor of Parliament.
We have to go right now. Thank you very much, dear guest, Honorable David Bahati, Deputy Chairman of the NRM Caucus, also Member of Parliament from Ndorwa West. Thank you for coming to Spectrum. Honorable Bettie Kamya, President of the Uganda Federal Alliance. Thank you for coming to Spectrum tonight.
Thank you for inviting me.
Honorable Gerald Karuhanga, Lead Counsel of the PAC, Youth MP Western Uganda, former Guild President Makere. Thank you for coming to Spectrum.
Corruption Forum.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you for tuning in. I've been your host, Edmond. Spectrum will be back tomorrow. We do apologize for the lines not being able to work tonight, but we'll be back tomorrow and you should be able to call in then. Do stay tuned, everyone.
Life is like a race. Richard switches on his BlackBerry and is off.